Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to day 30 of the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, presented by Visual Communications. My name is Francis Collado. I'm your executive director. I'm coming from you from our home in Long Beach in Los Angeles County, and we acknowledge the Tongva Kish and Chumash peoples, the stewards of this land before we all came to live here. On behalf of the Visual Communications Board and staff, thank you for joining us as we continue to move forward in celebrating you and our communities as key contributors to 50 years of visual communications. My deepest gratitude to our families, friends, and VC members and individual donors who continue to make this happen for us. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Comcast, NBC Universal, Nielsen, SAG-AFTRA producers IACF, Warner Media and HBO. Thank you to the National Endowment for the Arts, California Arts Council, LA County Department of Arts and Culture, the City of Los Angeles, Department of Cultural Affairs. Thank you to our funders, the Academy, Sundance Institute, the Getty Foundation, and the California Community Foundation, California Humanities and Array. This festival wouldn't happen without your support. Also, a shout out to our friends and businesses who support the festival. And today's gonna be a little bit food centric. So please, if you're in the area, support the park's finest, Cafe Dulce, Far Bar, Found Coffee, and all our other partners in Little Tokyo. This festival is also co-presented with our dozens of community partners who empower communities through media. Thank you for your allyship. And last, thank you to our VC staff for your passion to create our ideal communities at this time. One of the challenges in this virtual setting is you can never replace our in-person connection, especially those times when filmmakers connect with each other. This virtual cinema does not replace your theatrical screening, especially for this upcoming conversation with Yuechen Hao and their film One Meal. It doesn't do justice for your world premiere, but we hope that at least with this virtual space like this, you can continue to build communities together with each other. Thank you for telling stories of truth, and through your works, know that you bring truth to power. And folks, I'd like to introduce our festival programmer, digital media producer, event producer, and overall awesome Asian good guy, Marvin Yue.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marvin Yue. I'll be your moderator for this panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Like Francis said, I am a festival features programmer for the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival. Coming at you from Tongva Land, San Gabriel, California, which is the home of the San Gabriel Archangel, which was ground zero for the Spanish colonizers here in our area. So we bear that burden. And also class of 2002, Gabrielino High School, class of 2002. So our roots run deep. But thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you here for our conversation with Yuechen Hao and Michelle Sun about their film One Meal. If you would like to follow the conversation through closed captions, we're dropping a link in the chat now. You can check it out. You can click on that and it'll bring you to a new window that'll open the audio transcript so you can read along as we chat. Again, we'd like to thank everyone for making this FOSS Festival possible. And especially a special shout out to our community partner organizations, especially our friends at the Asian Business League. So without further ado, let's get this conversation started. Let's bring Yuechen and Michelle onto the chat. If you guys can turn on your videos.
Hi, Marvin. Hi,
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Congratulations on your world premiere.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, apologies it has to be done virtually, but we're very excited to bring your film to our festival. It's been a long time coming because we were supposed to do this back in spring, but we're finally here. How do you feel?
We feel good. We feel very excited to share our movies. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get started. Why don't you introduce yourselves, your role in the film, as well as where you're calling in from.
So hi, everyone. My name is Yuechen Hao. I'm the director of One Meal, and I come from China.
Hi, this is Michelle Sun. I'm the actress of One Meal. I'm calling from Seattle, and I'm also from China.
Welcome. So let's start with just I guess the situation, like the times we find ourselves in. So like we mentioned, your film was supposed to premiere at our festival back in May, but we've had to put it off because of COVID. How have you been, I guess, coping with the situation? How has your COVID era been so far? Yuechen, we talked about this before during our pre-show, but you are now in a farm in New Hampshire. How's that going for you?
Yeah. So right now it's like so 1 Million is still a world premiere in LAAPFF.
Mhm.
So and right now I'm writing in New Hampshire, and during the COVID, because it's kind of like a relatively rural life, so it's a good chance for me to concentrate on writing. And yeah, so basically, if I understand question right, yeah. So basically, I'm working on a new feature, and the rest of time I'm just like mainly farming and talking to the animals.
So you're raising animals too.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. Have you always been interested? Like what led you to deciding to, work on like start a farm, I guess?
It's a very good environment because it's pretty rural. We are here is the pretty rural, and not too many neighbors around, and we are next to the White Mountain, and our neighbors are basically moose or deer or like a lot of turkeys. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Thanksgiving's coming, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because of the COVID, the turkeys are like really big because it's like they're also quarantined and they're just growing very big.
Wow.
Big
Have
turkey.
you what kind of vegetables are you growing?
We are doing the researching how to plant the strawberries, and we are still like planning to grow some tomatoes and sunflower seeds, but also we are having a crafty battle with the chipmunks.
No. It's always a struggle. Well,
Yeah.
I guess good luck on your rural adventures. Michelle, how's your COVID time been?
I have never stayed at home for such a long time. I'm sure everyone's on the same boat, which means I also started farming, but
Wow.
I'm a little bit ahead of her. My tomato plant actually grew like quite big. However, that was in SF. I'm in Seattle for 2 weeks. I'm sure by the time I go back, they're probably dead. So that was just like a life journey for me, I guess. If I get to pick any tomatoes, it'd be great. But other than that, I've been taking a lot of online classes, to like financially related online classes and accent reduction online classes. I didn't really start the class yet. I already started researching for online, accent reduction classes. So it's been quite productive actually, because you eliminate all the traveling time and like waiting time. If you want to, take a nap, you just nap. If you want to start working, you just work right away. So I find it quite productive. But shopping wise is quite scary. So we've only been doing like delivery service for grocery shopping. Yeah. It's a special time.
Yeah, I'm glad it's productive. It's real easy to get caught up in just the laziness of everything these days. So yeah, it takes some mental fortitude to keep it going. Speaking of shopping, how have you been shopping? Have you like, is there where do you get your supplies? Is there like a general store around you, or do you need to go into the city? Yuechen.
So we are 20 minutes drive from the closest grocery store, and we are doing the groceries once a week.
Wow.
But there's a ice cream factory or milk factory, and they have their own cows, and they are like producing their milk by themselves. So we're living very close to that, and we're having like fresh ice cream like basically every day.
Wow, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the film itself. Yuechen, can you give us a brief description of what One Meal is about in your words?
So it's about an immigrant family, and the story is between father and daughter, and the daughter is trying to dream to be a chef in her father's Chinese restaurant, but like in her father's generation, this is a male dominating career and female should like have their own lives. So he's like trying to change his daughter's mind. But when the daughter like receiving an invitation from her boyfriend to like go to New York and start a new life, and this is a time that she really need to make a decision to whether to stay with her dad or to moving forward in her life.
It's such an age-old story in our community, right? Like doing something that our parents aren't approving of. Was this story inspired by anything like personal experience or just a story that you've heard or?
Exactly. It's kind of like a coming to age problem to myself. Is like when I'm at 21 and I'm almost graduating from the college, and because I coming from an engineer family, so both of my parents are engineer and they are expecting me to be an engineer, but that is not something I dream for. So I'm kind of like struggle with that, and I have an ex-boyfriend to like telling me that, oh, if you don't want to be an engineer, I can recommend you to be a TA in the college. So from that moment, they're all trying to help me, but from that moment, I'm a little bit like struggling with that because I kind of feel like everyone is trying to give the advice to my life, but no one really asked me what I really want, or as if like it seems like no one cares what I really want or they want to listen. So I have a kind of feeling about that, and because I was 21 and I don't really know what is going on in my heart, but there's a voice in my heart that's like, I don't want either. I want neither of this. So like after then I decide to study abroad and coming to US, and I've been in US for like about 6 years, and in these 6 years I'm trying to figure out what is that voice and what I'm trying to struggling. So this is kind of a journey, like I'm trying to know myself, I'm trying to hear myself. So the story is kind of like coming from this.
Yeah. And how did you decide, when did you decide that you wanted to become a filmmaker then to tell these stories?
Actually, when I'm almost graduating from the college, it's like my parents decide my application, what are the schools I'm trying to apply to study abroad. But at that time, I have a strong will, like I want to do creative work. I want to be an artist. And then I kind of like see my potential in editing. I found myself very good in cutting trailers or commercials, and I was like, I can start from there. And then I applied to Chapman, and Chapman accepted me. And one professor from the directing program said, oh, I think you should be a director, not locking yourself in the editing room. I think you have like some potential, like being a director and visual storytelling. So then I transferred from editing program to the directing program in the first year and start to make my movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's ask Michelle, how is Yuechen in terms of being a director?
That's why I was laughing when she was talking about engineer, because I've never had a director telling me, hey, Michelle, okay, that was great, but can you give me like 35% of which is this just now? Can you give me like 22% stronger of what you did? I'm like, but then later on, as we were talking, I realized that she does have this engineer background. So she has like her thing with numbers. And it did help actually. So it was very precise and communication was quite different and it was fun. And I think she gave me a lot of space in terms of exploring the character and how to deliver it. because I didn't grow up in China. I grew up in Japan and New York. So the topic that she was talking about, like father, daughter, like men dominating in a way that, you know, help the fatherhood helping you to decide what you want type of thing didn't really apply to me. Plus, I didn't grow up with my dad, so I never had to experience those kind of um, topics that she was talking about. But talking to her and me starting to do my research within Asian community stories and some like news report and stuff, it really helped. And it was very fun experience, like acting in this film. I got to watch, is that spoiler? I got to watch someone's feet in the film to show my affection. And yeah, it's great. I really liked working with her.
Yeah. And no worries of spoilers. I think people here should have seen the film already before watching this panel, so hopefully they know what happens.
Watch it, yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't, the film is available now to watch on as part of the festival. Just go to festival.vcmedia.org. Don't go yet. Go after this discussion. We don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
We need the numbers. That's great. I mean, Michelle, I'm curious about your own journey. You mentioned that your journey as a creative is not the typical Asian American story where we're going against our parents' wishes for us. How did you decide to become an actress?
So my mom raised me as if she's telling me just be free like a bird type of thing. She was never like a tiger mom or anything close to that. She was a very happy person as well. Um, I think she left China like when I was like super young in elementary school or something. And then later on, she was able to bring me over to Japan for my elementary school. And I stayed with her. Then we came to New York doing junior high school. Through the whole time, I remember she would, because I like Japanese and English, I had to learn everything. But she's also not a tiger mom. She's not like, hey, remember these like vocabularies or do whatever. She just pushed me out. She's like, hey, go shop at the vendor, pay them. I go there, I'm like, I don't know. I think people, she just said, oh, say number 3. Like I'm ordering like a meal, right? She's number 3. I'm like, okay, number 3. And then they took my money. I think this was in New York. They took my money, and then in the end, she didn't give me the food. She just asked to go or to stay. But I had no idea what she was saying, so I ran back to my mom's office. I'm like, I don't know. And then my mom took me back, and she said, oh, the cashier was asking to go or to stay. And then I'm like, okay, next time I'll know. So that's how she raised me the entire time, and that really helped me. So choosing to become an actress, I didn't really face any obstacles. It wasn't like, oh, financially I have to support, blah, blah, blah. I'm not like financially very healthy, not healthy, wealthy or anything. But at the same time, she didn't give me any pressure. So she kind of just taught me to follow my heart and be a happy person, because when you are with other people, everyone else can feel your energy. And I think that has really been working for me in my life for every field so far. So yeah, like all this is thanks to my mom. And yeah, it's been a great journey acting. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm.
Thanks to your mom for letting you pursue your dreams. Let's chat more about the film itself. So, Yuechen, your film takes place mostly in a restaurant set in LA's Chinatown. What drew you to this setting to do a story about a restaurant business or a restaurant family?
I think because I see a lot of potential to tell a story of cooking. I might understand the question, right? Yeah. So and because I cook a lot after I come abroad, so I want to because it's it's kind of personal story, but I don't want to show who am I in the movie. So I'm trying to create a bubble or sugarcoat, and I say I would like the cooking could help. So I would start from the restaurant, and then the next step is what kind of restaurant I'm looking for. Is the Cantonese or Sichuan restaurant or Beijing restaurant? What are like these are the options, and which way should I choose? And then I start to decide the dish, which is a fish. It's kind of like the fish provides a lot of potential visually, because there's live fish and you see how this fish is being made, and like how it looks when it's served. So yeah, it's like it's this kind of steps, and trying to like it's kind of like building up a sand castle. It's like trying to figure out the structures and adding the sand and doing the small decorations. So yeah.
Yeah. And what led you to decide to set your film in LA Chinatown as opposed to like some of the other Chinese enclaves in LA?
I think I visited San Francisco Chinatown or like others because I really want Chinatown. I think that's what I'm looking for, like decoration wise or culture wise. It's not like a Asian community, or it's like Chinatown has something like specifically I want to find in my movie visually. And I was doing some research for like other cities Chinatown, and San Francisco, the one in San Francisco is modern and more fancy. It's like everyone is looks more like prettier and nicer and more clean. But I think that's not what I'm looking for in this story. I want something like old fashioned. And then I was traveling back to the LA Chinatown, and I noticed they're still using the phone that you plug into the cars and you pay for. It's like it's totally 1990s style. It's like you don't see that anywhere else in the world, but people are still using that. And then I realized this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the old fashioned, and people there are as if they're living in the past. They are still living in the 1990s. And I think that is an ideal environment for me to tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, your film, the setting is it's a huge part of it. You know, you have beautiful shots of LA Chinatown in ways that I haven't seen it portrayed in probably ever in my case, but I'm also a novice film programmer, so I may be a little uninformed here. But your film is beautifully shot, and a lot of night shots too. Was that a challenge for you? Because most of your film does take place at night, and how was that?
So we shot, as I remember, we shot 6 overnights, and that is almost killed my crew. But it's like story-wise, the night scenes are like people are more emotional, and we can, because the night scene is like the dinner time is the busiest time of a a restaurant business. And after that, it's like everything is becoming much quieter, and people are like getting tired from work, so they're more emotional. So we, because there's like there are methods, like we are shooting night scenes in the day, like people know that, but I made the decision we just shoot overnight. We just shoot in the real time. And on set, we recognize like the actors. I don't know whether Michelle will agree with me, but I think the actors are like more emotional. And John is the father actor, and his interaction with Michelle is like they really look like father and daughter, and they are really like emotional, intimate in the scene. And when we are like blocking rehearsing on set, there is some chemistry in it. And in the daytime, maybe it's just how I feel, but in the daytime people are like more rational, and people are like using their brain more than their emotions. but in the night scenes, like it's totally emotional, and there's a different chemistry like between the actors. So that's what I like.
Yeah. Well, let's ask Michelle. What do you think about Yuechen's theory on actors being more emotional at night?
I didn't think that way before, but as she was talking about it, I agree with it. I do feel like at night, because everything's just quieter, you only hear like the crew moving around, and you hear yourself. And then a lot of time when we're on our break, we would stay in our individual corners just to stay in that zone. I think it was quite helpful. Yeah, I liked it. I didn't know that would be one of the reasons she shot at night though. But now that I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, and I think I know which scene she's talking about, because I did feel connected with my father, my actor friend more too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, the scenes between your character and your character's father were all very, I guess, it was relatable because you can tell, I mean, this testament to probably your acting and Yuechen's directing, but you can tell that these are two people that they love and respect each other, but they just can't see eye to eye. And that pain is very, very visible on screen. Michelle, I'm curious because you mentioned that you didn't grow up with a father, so you didn't have that kind of and you didn't have that kind of tension with your parents. How was preparing, or how was this role for you? Playing the defiant daughter who wants to do what everyone else does.
To be honest, it was a little bit hard in the beginning, but I did talk to my director a lot. I asked her why did she write Nan, who is my character, this way. How was she inspired to come up with the story like this? And also, I have heard from my friends and some other acquaintances about their tiger parents, and I can see them suffering in front of me. Sometimes, as they were talking about their parents, like telling them not to do something, they would start crying. I'm like, huh? What does that feel like? Is it really like you gonna cry for that? But this is already after the shooting. Last year I went back to China. I stayed with my grandma, and she was loving me in a way that she does not give me any options. I ended up crying, and that was like a moment of realization. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I experienced this earlier, maybe I can bring an even better performance. But for that production that we shot for one meal, I think research was a big homework for me. Just talking to fathers and daughters to understand where their intentions come from. And yeah, I think Yuechen was very helpful. She shared a lot of personal experience with me too about her relationship with her family as well. So that was very helpful.
That's great. Yuechen, I'm curious because the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival, we show films that are both international and Asian American, but your film kind of straddles that line because it's set in America, but it's done entirely in Chinese, and it features an immigrant family that, if you didn't know it was set in America, it could be set, anywhere in China except for, the tension between, there's a tension in your film between what the daughter wants, which is like innovation, authenticity to the food, and what the father wants, which is to sell food that white people will buy to provide for the family because that's what sells. Was that something? So I guess how is that translating between like your own experience as a Chinese daughter and also this film as like essentially an Asian American film? Sorry if this is I know I'm asking more complicated questions, so hopefully your translator can help. But I guess, what did you face any, like, how was that process of kind of wanting to tell the story but setting it in the States, like telling it as Asian American story?
So Actually, it starts from because I'm a first generation immigrant. It's like my parents, they're spending their time all the way in China, and I came to US by myself, and I know how difficult it is. So I kind of like understand like what the father experienced when he just came to US, and how because like people came to US is they just want for a better life. That's all they pursue. So there are a lot how they cross the culture obstacles, and they need to survive first. They need is there's like a lot of things more important than it's like I'm pursuing my cooking art, or I'm trying to be authentic. It's like I want my business survive is more important. I want my food sell is more important. I want to raise my family is more important. So that is what father thinks. But to me, the daughter generation is a younger generation. It's like they are born and raised in this state. So they are more like they want their voice to be heard, and it's like their thoughts are more simple and also brave and also genuine. And I think the difference between the father generation and the daughter generation is fascinating. It's like the difference, and you see the difference, and to me the relationship is not conflict, because when I'm sharing my script to people like my families or the professors in Chapman, they say I don't think there's conflict in the script, but I just believe there is conflict. There is a big conflict, and the conflict is fascinating. I just believe in that, but to me the conflict is not like a kung fu battle or something, like you see the swords, or like you see I'm an adult. I'm going to live my life, or it's nothing like that. It's more like Tai Chi style. It's like two power flows are trying to, like, you see the power shifts between the father and daughter, and that is what I'm looking for in this character relationship.
Yeah, and it's, you can definitely feel that. I commend you on your storytelling skills, because it definitely comes across in the film. The tension between the father and the daughter just with her situation. It's it's empowering, but also heartbreaking at the same time. And it's, Michelle, you did a great job portraying that, and her longing for pursuing her dreams. I guess. Trying to see. Let's well, before we move on to the next question, for everyone listening in or watching this panel, if you have any questions for Michelle or Yuechen, you can go ahead and shoot that into the chat, or we do have a Q&A box as well. If you want to send any questions, if we have time, I'll make sure to get onto that. But I'm curious about, and because we talked a little bit before this panel, and Michelle, you mentioned that you suffered an eye injury during filming. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Because of my director's very thoughtful planning of maybe we'll have more emotional moments at night. No, I'm kidding. So we just, because we had a lot of like night shots, and I think one day, I'm not sure if it was the third day or the last day of shooting. In the morning, we all arrived around like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and I just sneezed after like after changing to my wardrobe or something, and then my blood in my eyeball just popped into the entire corner. I'm not sure which side, and then it was just blood all over inside my eyeball. It was not all over my face or anything, and we almost went to the emergency room because I'm like, oh my god, what do I do now? This never happened to me before, but I asked Google, and Google told me that I was safe, that it's going to disappear in like a week or so, which means our entire shooting will be done by then. So we knew that it wasn't emergency or anything. We just decided to keep shooting. but for my director, Yuechen, and our DP, they had to like make a lot of last minute change because I got it in the morning when we arrived. So basically the entire day of shooting, they had to like place their angle of camera in order to avoid my blood in my eyes, in my eye, because it wasn't part of the script. And I felt really bad for them for sneezing. I'm sorry I sneezed. But yeah, I'm really grateful that they weren't mad or anything. They were just super worried. Oh my God, you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Yuechen, how was that for you as a director when your lead actress comes comes at you with like like something like that? How did you how was your response?
So first of all, time I really worry about her eye is like, is she need to be a hospital right away? Do we need to send her to the hospital? Because I'm really concerned about my her health at the first time. But because I experienced twice before, so I'm kind of like no, it might be not a big injury. It's just like wearing the contact for a long time, and just it happens. But yeah, it's like I'm glad that we figure out it's not a big injury and she'll be safe. And I'm kind of like, because that's what I'm mostly concerned about. But then it's like, because me and the DP Abdullah, we really trust each other, and we have been worked before. So we have a short meeting, very quick. It's like, okay, we need to change part of our plan. But although we know we need to change a lot of shots, but we went through the scenes, we went through the shot list planning, so we know what we are pursuing visually. So what we really need to do right now is we're trying to hide her blood in the eye, and but still trying to like have the information in the picture, like saying the background or emotional, or in the other ways, like performance wise, background wise, or prop design, production design wise. We're still trying to have those kind of information. And I really appreciate Michelle. She's a great actress. She stayed close to the director, and I talked to Michelle. It's like, so we need to have more communication. I need to stay in front of the monitor and look at your eyes and tell you where are the boundaries of your eye line goes. It's like, if you look to your left a little bit, we can see your blood. But if you look to the right, it's like I'm holding my fist here and say, Michelle, can you look at my fist? And I'm trying to find the boundaries. So we spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time on that. But me and Michelle and Abdullah, we have a great collaboration, and we just made a movie, and I'm very glad that we can put everything together. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, if you hadn't told me that was what happened, I would have no idea. So that was how skillfully you guys were able to accommodate for that challenge. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Good. I'm so happy you didn't notice.
Yeah. Well, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. We have a couple questions. Let's say David from the chat wants to ask Michelle if you learned how to cook for this film.
I did. Yuechen asked me to practice with that huge wok, right? Because I'm not a strong girl, so I had to like keep doing it for some of the shot. And but then again, after a few shots, it was just too much for me. And then Yuechen was like making sure with all the department, hey, we only have so many takes, okay? Make sure like we make it perfect so that she doesn't have to keep doing it over and over again, because it's going to show on camera too that I look very tired or something. And also at the same time, Yuechen didn't want to like break my wrist just to shoot that one scene or two scenes. Yeah, it was fun, and also like learned how to cut a little bit, and then catching fish. All of that were new for me. I've never touched a fish like that before. But because of it, it was quite fun, like I almost felt like a bully for a second. Oh, ha, let me get you. Because Yuechen told me that my character, like, I almost want to be a boy. And I do say that somewhere in the movie. If you didn't see it, you should watch it. Um, and I should really show my dominance over these fish in the tank and capture them to show that I can be a good chef too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. I did learn some cooking skill that maybe you guys should watch.
Yeah. Speaking of that fish scene, Asil from chat also wants to ask, how many times did you shoot that? Like how many times did you catch the fish?
You remember?
I don't really remember. I think in the old restaurant that we spent most of the time, the fish there are smaller and easy to catch, so we didn't spend too much time. But in the new restaurant, like in the end of the movie, that is a very fancy restaurant where sells the very fancy fishes, and and the fish are bigger and stronger, and yeah, and actually it's not very safe to just catch it with the hand, so we found a net for her. And there's one shot, you can see it from the picture that she was chasing one fish, but the fish are like trying to hide in the corner, and there comes another fish, and she just made a decision to catch another fish very fast. And I think that's a very smart decision. And me and the editor, we are sitting in the editing room for a lot of times, and we just like, this is a fantastic shot, this is a fantastic take, and we just gonna use this take. And yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of what she said about the old restaurant, when we were trying to catch the fish, they were smaller and weaker. So we we had a discussion of, hey, don't catch this one. Okay, this one's about to die or something. It's so weak. Maybe you can try to catch this one, this one. This one's okay too. So I had to memorize, okay, this one's okay, this one's okay. Let me try to capture them. It was definitely very fun discussion. None of the fish were harmed, okay? We didn't really kill any of them by ourselves. It was just the chef in the restaurant. Yeah.
How many how many dishes of Jinzhenyu, the fish dish, did you guys make, or is it just one dish shot 10 times?
I think the cooked dish is we are taking from the fridge, so they're already like freeze fish. It's not live fish, and those are the fish that the chefs from the restaurant, they cleaned in the early morning, and they just freeze it in the morning, and we cook those. And the shots we shoot through the fish tank are those fish are coming from the fish market every day in the morning, and the production designer is going shopping and get them from the markets. So I think there are 4 or 5 dishes cooked, and basically is one fish in front of the camera, and the chefs behind the camera, the chefs are preparing the fishes or like steaming the second fish back in the kitchen. And sometimes we're saying we can use the vegetables to cover this part, because some shots, there's one shot I really want one long take, so we shot like around 11 takes of that shot, and the actor ate a lot of fish, and we don't have that much fish, and we say, oh, let's try to use some vegetables to cover this part and do some decorations on it, and still like a fresh fish, a complete whole fish being served. So we use kind of like tricks like that to show it on the camera.
Yeah.
We definitely had like fish for lunch as well, because so many fish were cooked. At least like 5 plates or
5, 6,
right?
Yeah,
she had like a chef in the kitchen cooking as well, just in case if we need more. It was like we like a lot of us have fish for lunch. I think I did have fish for lunch that day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because there's one time, a lot of times actually, it's like the DP talked to me, camera is ready, and the sound like the sound recorder tell me the sound is also ready, and the first AD was like hold, and everyone was like, what are we holding for? And the AD said, hold for fish.
It was
like,
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, we're coming up at the end of our panel. Again, thank you so much for joining us. It's so much fun to talk to you too. This was the last question I was told to ask you both, which is speaking of one meal, if you had one meal that you can eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think it's hot pot. Yeah.
Oh, hot pot. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said hot pocket. I'm like, what? Okay.
Hot pot's it's pretty smart because you can have everything in it. So I get it.
Mine is 松鼠鱼. You understand? If you don't understand, maybe you should learn Chinese. No, it's squirrel fish, but there's no squirrel in this fish dish. It's just like a fried fish covered with sour sweet flavor. It almost tastes like orange chicken, but instead of chicken, it's fish. It's really delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's one of my favorite dishes too, actually. So I approve. Yeah. So I guess what are you all working on now? Do you have any projects coming up that we should keep an eye out for?
So right now I'm doing the structure of my next feature, and hopefully it will come out by the end of December. And I'm trying to concentrate still on female characters because I have a strong will to tell stories about women. Yeah. So right now, I don't know whether you heard of 二人转. It's a kind of opera in the northeastern of China, and it's totally different from Beijing opera or Kunqu, which is more fancy or more elegant. 二人转 is kind of like rural kind of art, and most of the audience are coming from like rural or lower class of the society. So it's once be regarded as a cheap art, and there's a lot of artists who want to make it more elegant, so it could be shown on the big stage or in the big theaters. And a lot of like male actors playing the female role in that opera, or a lot of like female role who like female actors who are not well appreciated. So I think that is a kind of a interesting area to me. It's like talking about gender, talking about artists. So that's what I'm trying to research.
Awesome. And Michelle, what are you working on? What's coming up for you?
I just had also a feature film in it was part of Jia Zhangke's film festival in Pingyao International Film Festival. I think they just wrapped it up like a few days ago, but it's called Cafe by the Highway. So if you guys have a chance, please go check it out as well. We just had our world premiere at that film festival, and I think it's still going around different film festivals. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you both, Yuechen and Michelle, for joining us for this discussion. Their film is One Meal, and don't forget, it's still viewable now if you haven't seen it. As part of the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, this is their world premiere weekend, so please check it out. You can learn more about watching the film by going to festival.vcmedia.org. If you enjoyed this conversation and the festival lineup, please consider donating to Visual Communications. Your support will help sustain our year-round operations and programming. Again, go to vcmedia.org for more info. And we hope to see you at our next conversation. For more recent updates on the festival, again, please visit festival.vcmedia.org or follow us on social media by going to VC Film Festival on Twitter. Don't forget to tag us with the hashtag LAAPFF 2020. And on that, if people want to follow you both, do you guys have social media handles that they can follow you on?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's same of my name. It's HYUECHEN. Instagram.
Yeah, I also have Instagram. Mine is Michelle Sun, just like my last name, and then Ray, Sunray, RAY. You can
Awesome.
follow us.
Thank you both one more time for joining us for this conversation. Congratulations on the world premiere of your film, Yuechen. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on the C3 stage. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you
for
for having
us. Bye.